I had $100 in my pocket, stupid college American kid thinking $100 in Europe is going to last me, the whole summer. And when I finally got to Santa Maria degli Angeli, which is at the base of where Assisi is, uh, like 4 or 5 people by this time got the story that this American college student doesn't know what she's doing. And so they just started yelling at me when we pulled into Santa Maria degli Angeli because I'm thinking I'm going to Assisi. And then they just started pointing. Uh, so that's where I jumped off. And as soon as I got off the train, I took off my collar and I took my arm out of the sling. I put it in a wastebasket right there. Like I said, it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but that's what I did. And
Why?
why did I do it? I just knew I would be somehow healed. I was never healed physically, really. I still have pain. Matter of fact, I have a pain appointment this Wednesday coming up. But emotionally, interiorly, I was healed. I don't know if that makes any sense. Um, I never had to wear a sling anymore. I would say yes, I was mostly healed physically, but I was more healed in myself, my peace. Uh, when I got to Assisi, I knew where I was. I never needed a street map. I just kind of knew the town. I was working in a bed and breakfast, if you want to think of it that way, but I couldn't really work because of my arm. And so the people, I don't want to name who they were a little disappointed in this summer help that they were supposed to be getting from America. And I really couldn't do. They wanted me to peel potatoes and stuff like that. Well, I couldn't use my right hand. So they made me the porter when the nuns would eat. Then I was to answer the door at the guest house because I spoke English and a lot of the guests were Americans. And they didn't speak English that well. So in that way, it worked out. And that's when I met Father Murray. I was there answering the door one day, and I opened the door, and there's Murray. And I said, "Hey, I know you. You're Murray Bodo." And he said, "Well, how do you know me?" And I said, "I read your book." And I had written a couple of songs for that book and things like that. And we just became fast friends. And he was there with a group of Franciscans who were leading a pilgrimage. Father Damien, Father Aaron, and Father Murray had some of them were priests, some of them were friars, and there were a few other, there was a small group, maybe 8 or 9 people. And they could see that I was pretty sick. I was getting physically sick there. I wasn't allowed out of the guest house except to go to mass at 5 o'clock at night, run down to the cathedral, which was all the way across Assisi, and come back. And so they sort of adopted me into their pilgrimage group, and they started to take me with them when they traveled. Uh, oh, and just all around. They took me to San Damiano's. They took me up to Laverna. They to the Carcery. Um, Places I would have never been able to get to or get into. Uh, Cella de Cortona, which was interesting because they started calling me Brother Susie. And when we went to Cella de Cortona, Father Damien, who was the leader of the group, Damien Isabel, he's in the Congo now. Um, he could speak, I don't know how many languages. I never heard anyone converse at a table in Swahili, French, Italian, English, all at one conversation. He is an amazing, amazing man. But when we got to Cella de Cortona, he just told me to be quiet and stand close to him. So he put his hand on my shoulder, and I was standing close to him. He had his habit on, and he got in an argument with I guess, the porter there, because they were a little bit of a heated exchange. and Damien kept saying, no, no, Frate Susie. And he just kind of kept pushing me and walking me with him. And all of a sudden I was in Francis's cell, in which I'm sure no woman had been in 700-800 years. But those kind of experiences, started to happen. And then,
Yeah. Yeah, can we go back real quick? For a lot of people listening, they're going to be wondering why in the world would a college student who's in the middle of healing from a really serious injury, who just lost her father not long before, who just picked up this book, Journey in the Dream, not too long before as well. Why in the world would she try to go to Assisi with $100 in her pocket? Like, what was it about that book or the call of the Franciscan message, or maybe it's some other kind of gravitational pull? Like, what was it that got you on that very, what most people would consider a crazy journey?
oh, it was crazy, all right. um, and I was called crazy many times, but I didn't know that Francis had been kept in a subterranean cell, and that there was a part of his life where he kind of lost it too, and his parents were upset with him, and had struggled with all the, you always see St. Francis with the birds on his shoulder, and he's out in a garden. And, I didn't know that he had gone through all of that personal struggle inside. And I thought, I can talk to him.
Hmm.
No, I can talk to him. I know I will get some answers. I had to know why. I just had to get some answers. And I knew, somehow I just knew. And in Murray's book was where I read those first stories. The whole Francis, the Journey and the Dream is all about that, the journey and then the dream. And so I was like, okay, I'm going on that journey, and I need the answers for my dream. Because the turmoil inside of me had to be calmed. And it was when I was in Assisi.